Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 2024 Hart Cross Country Media Day. I'm your host, Hart correspondent Rich Linden. Super excited right now to be chatting with Park University head coach Ricky Hacker and two outstanding student athletes, Lily Breckeisen and Lucas Mel. Coach, athletes, how you doing in Parkville today?
Really good.
Yeah, good.
Life is good. Well, Coach, I'm going to start with you. This is year two leading the Pirates. How much progress have you seen from year one into year two? How's it going so far?
I'm super excited. I mean, we basically had to house on the girls' side, we had to house a team that consisted of a lot of sprinters just to kind of get the numbers up and get everything going last year. So they're kind of like an underdog this year. I would say a lot of teams don't know that we've got the numbers now and like we're going to shift gears. And we actually had a pretty solid workout last night. It's given me a lot of hope with them, and I think there's going to be a big jump with them. It's going to surprise probably our whole conference, I would say.
I love it.
And on the guys side, it was kind of a dream season last year on the guys side. We opened up our first meet, I think, at like Missouri Western, and it was actually my first official day coaching September 1st. And we did okay. I mean, we were last in the meet. But long story short, I think we were ranked as low as maybe like 10th in the conference. And we just kept climbing through. And it was about 8 weeks that we climbed through. And we ended up conference runner up. And unfortunately, we did not get a national rating. So we didn't get to go as a team. Because typically the top two teams with enough conference numbers will get to go. But we were rated out, which it was amazing what we did just in such a short time, and it showed the progress, and especially with Lucas, he was able to still go individually. And I think Lucas might help me on this, but he went 25-17, and it's actually returning. He'll be like probably ranked number 2 individually in our conference. He has a good shot of winning the conference title this year as a sophomore. So
Excellent.
long story short, the whole team, that was tons of fun. And now our girls are kind of the underdogs now, and we're going to be working forward. Whereas I think our guys are they'll probably have a target on their back at some point halfway through the season. So I'm super pumped. It's going to be an awesome year.
That's fantastic. Lucas, I'm going to start with you and then we're going to kick to Lily, but I want to hear this. How impressive was it last year? Tell me about the emotions, your team coming from that so far under and then taking second place and then going on individually to nationals. Tell us a little bit about that journey and the team and what that felt like.
Yeah, it was insane last year. So as Ricky already said, so we started in the beginning with like not a really good ranking, and like we knew that the freshmen and with the new coach and everything that we had like good chances to run a good season. But yeah, we started up low and we didn't really know what we can do. And I think then in the beginning of the season we didn't increase this much and we stayed a little bit on one level, and we were maybe not believing anymore that we would peak so high. And then we already had pre-conference, so I think 2 weeks out from conference, we peaked a lot last year, and that was the point where we started to get really pumped, and then we peaked again and even more at conference. And this race, this was crazy. Like the conference race last year was so much fun, and I remember how I saw my time, and I was so surprised by the time and the placement and everything, because Ricky told me that I will run something like this. He already told me this in the beginning of the season and I didn't believe it. And then I saw this time at conference and I was shocked. And then I saw the next guys from our team finishing just like a few seconds behind me. It's like, what is happening right now? We're so good. And yeah, then of course it was a little bit of a bummer to see that we didn't qualify with the team for nationals, because of course we hope that we can go with the whole team. And then Andrew missed the individual spot by I think 1 second. So, and this was of course also a little bit sad. In the end, for me, I can't complain. I still were able to go, and so and nationals was a really really nice experience. I loved it, and yeah, so for me it was still a really really great season. But yeah, of course, it was a little bit of a bummer. So it would have been nice to go with the whole team. But I hope we can do this year.
Well, it's a fantastic build, a foundation builder for this season. So it's
Yeah,
going to be
yeah.
great to see how the team continues on this path. So Lily, let's talk about you. Let's talk about the women rebuilding, bringing in some new teammates. Parkville, man, has some incredible places to train and to prepare yourself for a season. Unlike some of the other campuses, you have so many places. So where's your favorite place to train with your team? Do you have a favorite?
Honestly, I like training on the track because then we're
Okay.
not hustling back, but we train a lot at English Landing, which is so beautiful because there's just so much to look at and it just flies by. We also do our long runs, like, past English Landing, you're running out to the dam. It's just so pretty. And to do that with a team and have like this, like you're talking the whole time, you're staying relaxed, even in workouts, like we're pushing threshold pace, but we're still relaxed enough. We're still having fun to where we're communicating with each other and encouraging each other. And that's the best part of it.
Cross country runners are so tough. It's blowing my mind. You're like, yes, we're relaxed and we're talking to each other. Are you crazy? That's nuts. So I want to talk about this, Lily. Um, Great places to train, but also you're in the Midwest, man. So you're starting the season. You and Lucas can talk about this too, where it's today going to be in the 90s, 60% humidity, crazy tough elements.
Yeah.
What do you do mentally to prepare for that? And then, a month or two from now, it might be in the 50s or something nuts.
Right. I guess in this aspect, I'm really lucky. I grew up in the Midwest. I grew up in a small town in Kansas, and
Okay.
I'm used to the constantly changing weather, or hey, practice is canceled because we're in a tornado watch. But like yesterday, we had practice at 6:15 in the morning and then again at 8 p.m. It's just, you got to stay engaged, you got to stay locked in, because those times are not necessarily the best times. You're waking up, you're getting ready to go to bed, you're tired. But as long as like I'm in it mentally, like, hey, I can do this, I'm gonna crush this workout, and then I can go about my day. I can do the things I want to do, the things I need to do. Just staying locked in is what's really important, and just like knowing like, hey, this might suck, but it's gonna help me get better. It's gonna help me accomplish these goals.
Yeah. Just that mental aspect. That's crazy. Well, Lucas, tell us a little bit about your journey. Like, where are you from? And what got you into cross country and made you fall in love with this sport?
So yeah, from Germany, and I so it's hard to say what really got me into cross country. I think I started running like I don't really know, like 8 years ago or something like this, um, with like a school team. So we don't really have these high school teams in Germany and stuff, but we had at my school, we had a teacher who was organizing relays for like the big city marathons, and we were running there with our with relays from the school. So this was probably my first thing where I was running at competitions and with the team and everything. Yeah, and then I started to take it more and more seriously. And then during my high school, this idea popped up. Okay, if I get good enough, I could maybe go to the US and maybe find a college where I can still run during my studies, and where I can improve, and where where I can live and train more professional than I ever did before. Yeah, then it luckily worked out, and yeah, I I got better, and
Right.
I saw I'm maybe good enough to try to find a college where yeah where I can do the next step.
Well,
And
you picked a fantastic university
yeah,
to
definitely.
continue on that journey. So,
Yeah.
yeah, great job there, Coach. You're still fairly new to Park University and the Heart. How long have you been in the sport of competitive racing? And tell us about maybe some of your goals as you're looking ahead for the next couple of years for Park University and competing in the heart.
Yeah, yeah. So as far as my own running, I grew up more as a Florida boy. Oddly enough, as Lily is setting here, I moved to Kansas City area, and then actually I was within a small town for a little while. And then I oddly moved back to Florida, which is kind of interesting. But the school that Lily ran for is actually the school that I was playing. I was actually playing football, and the coach kept bugging me about running. And long story short, I ended up running cross country, but I was more of a track guy. I was more of like a 200, 400 guy. And then I started moving up. He kind of kept talking me into it. And I ended up being a part of it. Actually, it was the first state championship for that school when I was running cross country there. And I was still recruited more as like maybe like a 400 guy. And then I went on, obviously, I ended up going on with college. I was over at USF for a little while. And then basically, I mean, I was part of like a conference championship. We unfortunately we were instead of being in the Sun Belt, we were a lot of times in ACC, and then they moved us all over the place, and
Yeah.
we just couldn't compete with some of those teams. So even there, I like understood like, okay, like some of these athletes really, really have to work to even be in a position to run at that level. So it was kind of cool. Like for me, I saw underdeveloped athletes at a young age and super developed athletes, and I kind of got to see a combo of all of it. Moving on, I ended up still chasing like my own running career. Fastest mile I actually ran 4:02 a total of 8 times. So I never broke the 4-minute mile, but I chased it quite often. Unfortunately, over in Europe, my 1500 would have equivalated at one point to breaking 4, but I just never did it because it was typically indoor season and I was trying to peak and this and that. And then long story short, just kept going, trying to pick up prize money. I ran everything from the mile to the full, and like I won Kansas City one year. It was back in 03. I ran it kind of on a whim. It was actually my first experience as a marathon, and it was kind of cool. I ended up winning it in Kansas City, and then from there, I coached actually at the Barstow School, and I coached at Johnson County
Okay.
for a while. And then I started getting a little more aggressive with my PT world. I do active release technique and I do muscle activation therapy. So I kind of focused on that for a while. And then to get to the story, basically my stepdaughter was running in high school at Shawnee Mission East, and she ended up being the only one that qualified for state. And she was super upset. And I'm like, why are you upset? And she basically said, why don't you come help? Because we don't have any, like our coaching, we're just struggling. And long story short, I had a high school team that they won state for the first time in 56 years. And
wow.
Ironically, we're going to Rimrock Farm. He has the record on. He's ran under 15 minutes actually for 5K. Wyatt Houghton, and he just ran a 3:52 mile this summer, so he's like on another level. And he was kind of like that piece that got everything going. And then I don't know. I got an interview with Park, and I was kind of like, it's time. I want to shift back to college, and I'm loving it more and more. And I love the location. Like you were saying, you hit it right on the head with the nail. Like it was basically, I want to go somewhere where I can train. And
well, yeah, coach, we love it.
Then,
we love having you at Park
awesome.
University.
So anyways,
we love seeing what you're doing.
Great.
It's been a great journey, man. I can't wait to see what you're going to do with this men's and women's squad this season. And Lily, Lucas, man, thanks for being here today. Let's just rock it out. Let's continue on to another Heart Championship. Love you guys. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.